Joining me in the studio is Mick Gatto. Firstly, Mick, look, thanks for fronting up. It's more than the Premier will do on this program, so I appreciate your time.
And I thank you for letting me exonerate myself, I guess.
Well, I don't know if I'll be doing that, but let's get into it. So Can you help me understand what you do for a living?
All right. So what I do, I've been doing it for 40 years, Jacqui. I look after builders. A lot of builders are intimidated by the unions. They pay me a retainer. Any union issues, they refer it to me. They don't lose productivity. Their jobs don't stop. And it's normally a 12-month contract. And I've got some builders that have been looking after me for 20, 30 years, 40 years. They just keep renewing the contract every year because they're happy with the service. And that's what I've been doing.
So what is the service specifically that you provide?
So if the unions have got an issue with the builder or something wrong on site or the C-bus or Inklink hasn't been paid, or it could be a myriad of things, and they ring the builder up and they say, OK, we've got an issue with it. They say, well, ring my AR man. They ring me. I sit down with them, sort it out. So
is it a discussion that you have?
It is, yeah.
Does it involve threats or intimidation?
Never.
Never.
If it did, I'd be there for 5 minutes. They wouldn't talk to me.
All right. Well, let me play you some audio now. Carl, roll that tape.
I can stop anyone doing anything, mate. And I say that respectfully. I don't want to be a smarty. We can cause you grief.
Is that a threat?
So if you play the whole context of that tape, because they just played snippets to sensationalise it. In fact, the bloke that had the issue there was the bloke called Joe Toscano. He was a builder, and he boarded the building up, and he wouldn't pay the subcontractors, and he wouldn't let them take their equipment. Christmas was coming up; they were all just about to go broke, and someone approached my partner John Curry if we could help resolve it. And that's what we tried to do. So if you listen to the context of that story... But
to me, that sounds like a threat or intimidation.
But that's what I'm going to tell you. If you listen to the context of that, I say to him, the union can stop any job in Melbourne, and what they do, they frown upon people that owe the subbies money. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to the context of that, you'll understand that it's not actually me saying I can stop any job. I'm meaning to say that they can.
Could you stop any job in Melbourne?
I couldn't. If I tried, the union just wouldn't do it. If it was a valid reason, they'd stop it themselves.
Because the Watson report says that you damage the building industry and, I quote, damage the Victorian economy maybe permanently.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, they're looking for a scapegoat, and I refuse to be one, Jacqui. I've been down this track the last 30, 40 years. They've tried to do it in different royal commissions that they've had. Nothing's come out of them. They've branded me a standover man with no evidence.
But I just played you audio there that does sound like you are standing over those people.
But what I'm saying to you, play the whole audio. Play the whole lot of it, and then you'll understand the context of it. This bloke here has boarded his whole building up. He owes $3 million to subbies. Christmas has come up. They're all going broke. They can't get their equipment out of the job. Mm-hmm. And he, because he thinks he's above the law and he wants to come out like he's the victim, he's not the victim here.
Are you above the law?
I'm not above the law. I don't profess to be above the law. I do things the right way. I always have. I'm always under scrutiny. Police have always had an interest in whatever I do. If I tried to be above the law or do anything above the law, they'd come and arrest me and charge me in a heartbeat.
The Watson report mentions you. It is a 139-page report. It mentions you 165 times. Then why is that report coming for you?
Because I just told you they're looking for a scapegoat.
So they're all lying.
Let me tell you something. Let me answer that, Jacqui. Yep. If that's the case, they've had this 12-month Royal Commission in Queensland, and there's all these innuendos and allegations that are unproven, by the way. And all they are is something that's been made up. Why wasn't I called to give evidence? Why wasn't I called? If I feature in it so many times and I'm this, monster that's created all this stuff and ruined the economy and cost every household $5,000 and this money could have gone to emergency services and doctors and nurses and teachers, don't make me look like the bad guy here. Well, I haven't done that.
How much money have you made as a result of working for contractors on the big build?
I don't work for contractors on the big build.
Okay, so is it true that your accountant or a man that works for you, Charlie Pellegrino, he runs some of your finances, and that he sends invoices on your behalf to big build contractors?
Hang on a second, Jacqui. Hang on a second. Charlie Pellegrino is not my accountant.
Does he work?
Charlie Pellegrino has never worked for me in any way, shape, or form. I've never done anything with him. There's been money that they say has been funneled through there and come back to me.
Yes, that.
Where is it? Where is it?
Do you have that money?
It's not true. It's all been made up. It's all trumped up.
Federal police have investigated him.
And how come they haven't come and charged me?
If the Anti-Corruption Commission then was given follow the money powers, would they find a paper trail leading from you to big build contractors?
No chance in the world.
So you've never received $1 through intermediaries that work for people that have worked on the big build?
Oh, hang on a second. I might be involved with a labour hire company. I'll get a wage out of it, and they work for the big build. But hang on, they go and tender the jobs. So they tender the job, they win the work. What they do with their money has got nothing to do with anyone else.
The report also investigated a company called Jarrah Resources. For our listeners. It's an Indigenous labour hire firm, and your daughter was at one point a shareholder.
Correct.
What experience do you and your daughter have in Indigenous labour hire?
None. But there was an Aboriginal elder by the name of Stan Dryden that was a partner in that, and we won this government work. And the moment the Australian went and reported that I was involved, we lost that work. And it cost us $250,000. Well, it didn't cost me. It cost M Group $250,000. That's what it cost to set them up.
But you're saying to me that you don't work for companies that are affiliated with the big build. That company was on the big build, and it appeared on their social media, Jarrah Resources, of which
the company never traded, Jacqui.
No, but through the other company.
Yeah, but it never ever worked, never ever operated.
But you're saying you've got no links to Big Build, and I'm saying there is a direct link between you, your daughter, and therefore flowing down to the Big Build.
That was well before Big Build. Anyway, that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but it's still a government project.
Oh, hang on a second. I had nothing to do with it. I mean, it was it never eventuated. It never went past first base. You know, we set it up. It cost us a huge amount, or it cost M Group a huge amount of money to set it up. It never traded. It never traded one day, never made one penny.
Because the Watson report estimates that you've made more than $5 million a year through payments involving companies that are working on the big build.
Jacqui, please come with me and try and find it. If we can find, I'll whack it up with you. I'm happy to give you 90% of it because it's not true. You know, I've made a good living out of what I do. I've been doing it for 40 years. Yes, people do pay me. They're happy with my service. That's a complete and utter load of rubbish. I wish I was getting $5 million a year, you know, because then I wouldn't have given the union people bracelets. I would have bought them Raptors.
Well, on the bracelets and those reports, you do buy gifts for CFMEU bosses?
I did. I did, and pure and simply because it was a term of my friendship that I give it to many of them, and a lot of them I never had any dealings with. At all, but I still give my bracelet because.
Back?
Sorry?
Do people ever send them back?
No. I demanded one back of someone that done the wrong thing, and
what did they do?
Anyway. Well, he just rubbed me up the wrong way, I guess.
Well, in the report, I want to just give you one other example as well, that you were brought in as a fixer in 2020 when 2 CFMEU organisers, and I quote, were severely bashed by men on a worksite that they were visiting. One of those organisers, Ronnie Buckley, lost an eye. You say that you care for the union,
yep.
but in that case, those 2 union officials, you represented the other side.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I represented the union. In fact, I went to the union and said to them, I can get these blokes to the table because they wouldn't come to a table. I said, I can get them to...
Because they were bashed on a site.
No. I'm talking about the owners.
Yeah.
They wouldn't come to the union office or have a meeting or whatever. I said, I can get them to a meeting. I was acting as a mediator in the middle. I wasn't there on their behalf or the union's behalf, really. I was there for both of them.
These union officials were allegedly bashed by Albanians.
I don't know what happened there, Jacqui. I'm only...
Did you get paid for that work?
No, I didn't. I got nothing for it because we never really resolved anything.
So did the money... was there no money paid? Did it ever get to the victims?
There was no money paid.
A lot of people would say that... I mean... I've given you 3 specific examples there, and you're denying all of those examples. So why do you think in the report they were all cited and have been repeatedly cited as examples of your involvement within the CFMEU and big build projects?
Look, I think I answered that before. They're looking for a scapegoat. I'm the biggest scapegoat in town. I've got a reputation. They've got me branded as an underworld figure and Carlton crew and all this nonsense they go on about. I'm the furthest thing from all that. People can form their own opinion. People that know me know what sort of person I am. I run around on my own. I don't run around in gangs and groups and all that sort of thing. So that's the reason. They've got to tip this bucket on someone because they can't cop it themselves, and they're looking for a scapegoat. I'm not going to be a scapegoat, and that's the reason I'm here today.
So are you going to sue anyone in that? Do you want to take legal action against any of? Who do you want to sue?
I want to sue Nick McKenzie, the 60 Minutes, and Watson.
Are you going to sue Watson?
I'd love to, but I can't. He's indemnified.
I was going to say. So do you want to launch legal action against Nick McKenzie?
Jacqui, hang on. He can go and make all these accusations and all these allegations that are unfounded, untested. He just invented them. They should call him an inventor, not an investigator. I can't retaliate or take him to court for defamation or whatever because he's indemnified by the government. So where's the fairness in that? He can come out, say and do whatever he likes. But he's got
whistleblowers who have spoken to him and given him those examples and documents to allow him to write his research in his report that says...
Jacqui, if he said to me it was raining outside, I want to go out and get wet, I promise you I wouldn't believe a word he says. And if you go online today, you'll see that the Attorney General and the Police Minister are both bagging him, saying he's a headline chaser. And, he's making all this stuff up.
He's also represented numerous state and federal governments in exactly this type of case.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be too happy the way that he's represented him if he's operating like this.
On another matter, what is your current relationship with John Setka? Are you still friends?
John's a very good mate of mine. I love John. In fact, I think I've said it before, John should have the Order of Australia. What he's done for that union is absolutely unbelievable. He's built...
What's he done?
He's built an empire. He has. The men love him, and that's why they all support him.
Has he built an empire on taxpayer funds?
He's built an empire on his members' funds, and now they've got Irving in there and Watson in there gobbling it all up. I'd like to see in 5 years' time, the 300 or 400 million that John Setka has built up. How much is going to be left by the end of the term?
In the Watson report, he repeatedly refers to deals and drug deals that were done by bikies on CFMEU sites. Have you ever worked with any bikies or former bikies or represented them in negotiations?
I've never represented bikies or worked with them. A lot of them are friends of mine. I have represented builders that have been involved with bikies, try and settle a dispute or whatever. Stuff like that I've done. And like I said, I've got a lot of friends that are bikies. I've got a lot of friends that are builders, so I operate for the builder.
Why would John Setka be worthy of an Order of Australia?
I just told you why. He is a man that his word's his bond. If he says something, you can take it to the bank. He's not corrupted. The bloke's got nothing. They said he's got 4 properties. He's been kicked out of
the union.
He hasn't been kicked out at all. Get your facts straight. He hasn't been kicked out. He resigned. He was resigning in January. The media and the politicians and all that come and seen him and said, John, if you resign now, we promise we won't chase the union.
Who came and saw him?
I'm not sure who it was, the administrator or government. I don't know who it was. And he agreed to resign in October rather than in January. They gave him their word that they wouldn't chase the union, and then they somersaulted him. They went full bore. And John Setka is a good man. Let me tell you that. All he ever worried about was his men. And you can say whatever you like about him. I know he's rough around the edges and he makes idle threats or whatever, but he is a good man.
Do you make idle threats in your business?
No, I don't. I don't, purely and simply because I know the way things work and I know that I'm always being looked at. I wouldn't do that.
What do you think of the state of the construction industry and the big build right now in Victoria?
Look, I think the state of the industry has been fantastic. And I believe now that this administrator has been appointed and this investigator or inventor's there, I think they're going to ruin the union. I really do. I think the health and safety issues are going to go down the drain. I think people are going to be killed. It's only a matter of time before this happens, and it's on their watch. Because if John Setka was there...
What's health and safety issues, though?
Sorry?
What are the health and safety issues that you're talking about?
Just looking after the men so that they're safe.
Well, what about the 2 men? What about the man that lost his eye, a CFMEU worker?
But what's that got to do with me?
Well, you were involved in media.
I wasn't involved in that. I wasn't involved in him losing his eye.
No, but you were brought in to negotiate on behalf of the union.
I was brought in to negotiate on both sides because they couldn't get him to a table. I got him to a table.
But he's now suing the union.
And good luck to him. And I hope he succeeds. I mean, he's entitled to succeed if he's lost his eye.
Mm. What do you think of Jacinta, Allan? Have you ever met her?
I've seen her a couple of times. I haven't actually met her. I think she's a good person. And look, I don't get into politics. I think they're all the same. They're all no good. And until they put someone in there that's got the interests of the people at heart, the country's always going to be like that because, they all make all these, all these promises, especially leading up to an election. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then they get voted in, they don't do it. So I've never voted in my life. And
You've never got compulsory voting?
Yeah, I just cop a fine every year. I couldn't vote for anyone.
Did you ever meet Dan Andrews?
Yes, I did. I knew him quite well before he was Premier.
Did you?
Yep.
How did you know him?
I used to see him in Spring Street. He used to have a little chat every now and then. And
what did you talk about?
Just spoke about just general stuff, family, kids, all that sort of thing. Just off the cuff, I just used to bump into him when I was there having a coffee, whatever. And
you've never met him in any professional capacity?
I have not. He actually runs when he sees me because he's terrified of being photographed with me, which I understand.
Do generally people see you on the street and run?
No. Politicians do, but no one else does. I mean, I'm not intimidating. I treat people the way they treat me. You treat me with respect, you get the same.
So just to wrap up, I just want to get, as I said, I want to go back to the very beginning about arbitration and mediation and what that actually means.
I don't know what it means, but
that's what you say you are. You're an arbitrator and a mediator.
Yeah, no, well, that's the name of the company. But what I do, I look after the builders. Simple as that. If they've got an issue with the union, I address it. And I've been doing that for 40 years, and no one's ever had a problem with it until now.
Well, I think they've had a... Sorry, did you want to... Go ahead.
I'd just like to add, you're batting for this Jeff Watson, and fair enough, so you should understand the way it works. But he's come out and made a report that that the big builders lost... excuse me, I'm losing my voice, sorry.
You're right.
Excuse me. The big builders lost $15 billion.
Yep.
Could be $30 billion.
Did you get any of that money?
Hang on. Could be $30 billion.
Yeah.
Well, get your facts straight. How can he just double it? In one sentence, how can he just go and double it? Every major project, the Westgate Tunnel, it finished 12 months late and $3 billion over budget. Very rarely a large project, government project in Victoria, will run to time and budget. You tell me any that have. There's not too many, I promise you. I agree with that. Yeah, so there's the 15 billion. That's where it's gone. And if I could just read...
So not a dollar of it went into your pocket?
Not $1. They don't pay me. I don't work for them. I work for the builders. I don't work for the government. I don't work for the unions. I work for the builders. So there was a report yesterday...
Just to be clear, which builders? So you work for just CFMEU builders or you work for other builders as well?
I work for others too. I work for non-union builders and union builders. Mm-hmm. And very shortly, I think I'm going to only be working for non-union builders. And union members won't be welcome on our site.
So just to go back to those builders, can I just ask you about Rangedale and LTE, those companies? Yeah. Do you work for them?
No, Rangedale, we used to do a little bit with them, but then all these reports come out in the papers.
Yeah.
And they had to tell us, look, we're sorry, we can't keep
But they're big build. They contract to big build. So when I ask you if you work for contractors that contract to big build, that's one,
but
Rangedale.
Hang on a second. I just told you that Rangedale go and tender for the job there.
Yeah.
And then what they do with their money is their problem. They pay me. The big build don't pay me.
Yeah, but I asked you if you ever worked for contractors or intermediaries that had contract with the big build, and you said at the beginning of the interview, no.
Yeah, because the big build don't pay me.
No, but I asked you if you worked for contractors or intermediaries that work for the big build, and you said no, and they're just two that I'm giving you the examples of, LTE and Rangedale.
LTE, I've never worked for LTE.
Rangedale's mentioned in the Watson report that you worked for them.
Yeah, we used to get an IR fee there.
So I guess we come around to that circle there. If you get a fee from them and they work for the big build, you're working for a company that works for the big build.
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with the big build.
Well, it is if that company works for them.
But it's not, because I've just explained to you, they got to go and tender for the work. They tender for the work. Hang on a second. They tender for the work. They get the work. They're the preferred tender. What they do with their money and who they employ and who they pay is their business.
But it's taxpayers' business.
It's not the taxpayers' business because it's already been tendered.
But it is taxpayers' business.
No, you're going around in circles. And
I feel
Jacqui,
like we are going around in circles. But it is taxpayers' business if they fund. If Rangedale works for the big build, taxpayers pay them.
Yep.
And then they pay you.
Yep.
That's taxpayers' money, Mick.
But hang on a second. They've already tendered for that work. And that they might have tendered.
But that's therefore
they
why,
might have
that's
tendered
why
for that
the
work,
Watson
and the work's 25 million for argument's sake.
But that's why the Watson report has named you over 160 times.
Well, the Watson report is just a load of rubbish. I've got to be honest with you, and the Attorney General and
the Police Minister
Carbine came out and said the same thing today. In fact, there was an article in yesterday's paper in the Guardian, if I could read it. It was a Professor David Hayward from RMIT University. He was quoted in The Guardian saying that the overruns were largely due to materials and equipment costs and issues with particular projects, which was supported by economist Sol Eslake, and I believe he's someone that's very well regarded, who said the Australian Bureau of Statistics showed costs in Victoria went up by nearly 40% between 2014 and 2025. There's your blowout. And I'll just give you an example with the Westgate Tunnel. It blew out $3 billion.
Yeah.
There's not one government project that I can recall that ever hasn't blown out.
So your final message to people that think you're a liar and a criminal?
Well, they can form their own opinion. The people that know me know what sort of person I am. I've raised $12 million for charity. I've got a fantastic foundation that we've made a huge difference for autism. We've bought a church in Preston. We're going to convert it to an autistic-friendly playground therapy room, first of its kind in the world. That's what I'm proud of. I want to be left alone so I can concentrate on what I'm doing, because all this stuff is all nonsense. It's unproven. It's untrue. And just to add, Irvine, who's taken over the union that was appointed by the government, he's gone and sacked all them people there because of suspicion. Not one of them's been proven guilty. Now, they're all guilty until proven innocent.
So you're happy to front any inquiry, any Auditor General's...
Jacqui, I haven't finished. You've got to give me my go.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a democratic country. It's not a democratic country anymore when they do things like that.
Any request to front any investigation here in this state, you will front up?
I've got no problem with fronting anywhere. I've got nothing to hide. I've got nothing to hide. Okay. I've got nothing to hide, Jacqui. I'm happy they can come and scrutinise me. They can come and help me try and find this money that's supposedly gone in my pockets. Yeah, let's find it. I'll share it with them because it's not true. It's all nonsense. They're looking for a scapegoat. They're not going to scapegoat me.
All right.
And, they can continue on their merry way. Just leave me out of it, please.
Appreciate you fronting up.
Thanks, Jacqui.